Hey, comic book fans! I'm Wild Bill, the Unknown Comic. Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Geezers. Sitting right here next to me is Pete Pardo, and we're going inside the cover with Captain Savage, Leatherneck Raiders.
That's right, everybody. I know it's a long title, right?
Issue number 2.
Issue number 2. Captain Savage and his Leatherneck Raiders. There it is. I picked this up at the recent New Jersey Clifton Comic Con that we went to, and I just got around to reading it. And I only bought this because listened.
His first appearance, oldest appearance you thought of this Baron Stryker?
Actually, not oldest, but one of the early ones for sure. But normally, you would either see him in Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos or Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's usually where Baron Stryker would show up. But I saw this. I knew it was another, 60s war comic from World War II.
I like the guy with the 8 arms.
You know who that is, though, right? This is an early version of Hydra.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's
the leader of Hydra.
Well, he is, I'll get to all that in a second. But yeah, I saw this and I was like, all right, Baron Stryker, Hydra, gotta have it, right? I'm like, what? And then I'm like, Captain Savage and his Leatherneck Raiders. I have no idea. I've never heard of this comic before, ever.
You would think logically Nick Fury's in there somewhere?
He's not, actually. But I guess, see, here's the interesting thing. So in all the Nick Fury... most of them anyway. They're generally fighting the Germans in World War II.
Yeah, the Nazis.
I guess Captain Savage takes place in the Pacific.
Oh, okay.
So both comics were going side by side, right?
Okay.
So yeah, but just one was.
So this is Pacific Theater.
This is Pacific Theater, and here they're also fighting the Samurai Squad, which is the Japanese kind of super team, kind of similar to Strucker's team in Nick Fury. Yeah, it gets confusing, but anyway, issue number 2. I think this only ran maybe a dozen or so issues. I didn't quite. This is based on a comment that someone made on one of the earlier videos where we showed this. But anyway, I finally got it. I mean, it's in great condition.
Yeah.
And look at that cover. I mean, just so colorful, so well drawn. So this is from 1968. Edited by Stan Lee, written by Gary Frederick, drawn by Dick Ayers. Dick Ayers also did Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos. Inked by Sid Shores, lettered by L.P. Gregory. And so basically, this is the return of Baron Stryker. So this is his first appearance after his last appearance, which I think was second or third appearance in Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos. So I guess he was left for dead. That's kind of...
So he came back?
So he's back. So, yeah. So here, that is Captain Savage right there. So he's a little bit different than Nick Fury. He's not the wisecracking guy. He isn't not the cigar-chomping, kind of outspoken. This guy's a little...
And he's in the Navy?
And he's in the Navy, yeah, exactly. Or actually the Marines. Oh. This is the Marine Corps as opposed to Sergeant Fury, which is the Army. So there's a difference there. So here... he's got his men going through like a simulation type of thing, just practicing up for stuff. So, of course, he's got a Southern guy. He's got a French guy in his team. He's got an Indian guy in his team. He's got, every, nationality's got.
So it's a parallel to Nick Fury's Commandos.
100%, yeah. He's got to have a foreigner in there. Got to have a minority or two in there.
Kind of like the Doc Savage got his team also.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So here are his, and these are the Leathernecks. So in the first,
Leathernecks.
So the first couple pages, they're going through some kind of training thing, and then all of a sudden he comes and says, "Hey, we've got this new." Detail that came up. There's apparently a submarine that's probably Japanese. We've got to go off the isle of whatever the hell it is, and we've got to take out that submarine. So that's basically the mission. And then, of course...
comic ads.
Yeah, I love these, right? So they have Not Brand X. That's issue number 7.
Or Daredevil issue.
And then Daredevil issue number 33 or 38.
Which I don't have.
I have that. That's against Dr. Doom. That's a good one. So those are always cool. There's another one coming up soon, too. So here we go. Now, at the same time, at that same island, is a Japanese detail with the Samurai Squadron, and it's basically a trap. So they're trying to trap the Americans to come in, specifically them, and they're going to ambush them. So that's kind of what goes on here. Right, so there's all this kind of back and forth stuff, which, is intriguing.
Setting the stage.
Yep, setting the stage. So, of course, here the Leathernecks show up in their sub. They get out. They go swim ashore. Right, and then at the bottom of this page over here, you see this bald guy looking through a periscope saying that he says...
he sees them.
Amerikaners, at last they have begun to feel the losses my ship has inflicted upon them. But little do the dumbcoffs realize that they have only begun to feel my might. Those who are just come ashore will realize it soon enough, however, for I have planned a most interesting reception for them. So, of course, who is that? That's Strucker. They don't reveal that yet. But so as soon as the Leathernecks get on the island and get their wetsuits off, they get bombarded with all of these booby traps. So you've got like these stakes that come flying out of the ground and all this kind of stuff. So there's booby traps everywhere. There's a mine. One of the guys almost steps on a mine. And then at the same time, on the other side of the island, here comes the samurai squadron out of the water. So they both enter onto the island on different sides of the island at the same time. And so, of course, you know what's going to happen. They're going to meet. And they also get like attacked by all these booby traps. But, nobody gets killed by the booby traps. So here, at the bottom of this page, you have this bald guy, once again, is looking through the periscope, reveals himself to be Baron Strucker, and now he finds out, he goes, and this is really weird, too. So even though in World War II, the Axis powers were Germany and Japan, because...
And Italy.
And Italy, yes, exactly. But because Strucker, apparently because he didn't, his team did not defeat Fury's team in an earlier issue of Sergeant Fury Howler's Commandos, Hitler cast him out.
Oh, yeah?
So now Strucker has no allegiances. In other words, it's myself and my group, which I'll reveal in a second.
He's like an independent mercenary.
Independent. He doesn't give a shit about the Japanese, the Americans. You're all enemies. Exactly. Yeah. Everybody's an enemy. I'm all by myself now, which I thought was kind of interesting. So here he reveals himself at the bottom. I am Baron Strucker. I have returned, right? And so they have initially gotten past our initial defenses, but as of little consequence, before I have finished with them, they, like the rest of the world, will wish they had never laid eyes on Baron Strucker. So basically it's him against the world now. So he doesn't, no allegiances. And then he talks about, from the day I was forced to flee my native Germany to escape the wrath of Hitler, I have dreamed of the day when he and the entire world will regret the day they turned their backs on me. And now with the military supplies I have stolen, my dreams have ever come close to fulfillment, and that's going back to Sergeant Fury, number 29, a couple of years before. So here, basically, now he talks about how he has put together this new army, this new force that he then calls Hydra. So there, right there, he calls them Hydra, right? So again, all the green uniforms and all that sort of stuff. He's got a whole compound set up there. So this is kind of like basically
the origin
of Hydra. Yeah, basically, right? So here, now you see on the island, as the two forces come together, starting to come together, you see all these booby traps and holes in the earth open up, and all of the men get swallowed up except for Captain Savage and the leader of the Japanese group of the samurai squadron. Here's another.
Wow!
Look at that, another one, right? So you
got 2 pages of comic book ads.
Yeah, so we got the first appearance on the cover of Mary Jane Watson, Spider-Man 59. And the Avengers number 50, where they go up against Titan. And I have both of those. Those are very cool.
Neither one.
So as all of the forces then get sucked up into the earth below, they come into contact with each other, and here's where the fight begins. Now, they're all armed. You would think they would start like shooting at each other, but no, it just turns into fisticuffs. So here you got the Leathernecks guy, the French guy, the Indian guy, the Southern guy. They're all fighting it out, banging it out with the Japanese guy, who they call Nips.
Yep.
Again,
that's what they were called back in those days.
I know, yeah. I mean,
that's the 60s.
Reading it today, it's like, this is the ridiculously, but here you have the Indian guy get into a little wrestling match with one of the Japanese guys, the big strong man, puts him in a bear hold. So it's a good action issue. But then they realize that there's something else going on. They hear this announcement over a loudspeaker. Meanwhile, they're underground. So basically, they have the Hydra folks are talking to them in English and in Japanese. And and here you see the Hydra guys with very early versions
the uniforms,
of the Hydra and mask and uniform. Yep. I think later on did they show their mouths? I don't remember later on. I think it was a full mask, right? But yeah, so they take them prisoner, and then up top, now you see the leader of the Samurai Squadron and Captain Savage. Now they're going to get into it, so they finally come into contact, right? So now they go at it, and again, they don't shoot each other. So the Japanese guy's got a sword, and Savage, he's got a gun, but he knocks it out, and then he gets trapped up in some kind of wire or something like that. So then they get into this slugfest that lasts like 3 pages. So they keep going, boom, 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 crack, stomp, srack, back and forth, no blood, of course. There you go. That's a good one. Whap.
Nice punch.
Yeah, whap. So it's a pretty good slugfest, and it continues. Then finally, though, Captain Savage gets one over on the Japanese guy, and he kind of relents. But then, and then they realize then that something is amiss, right? And yeah, I think, but I know I won't stick. Let's see. So they basically figure out that something's going on. That there must be. So Blow Me Down. I was beginning to wonder if there was any way to dent that guy's iron jaw. I never fought a man with so much sheer will and power. But now that I've licked him, I'm not too sure I gained anything by it. If the Nips aren't behind this mess, and the two of us may need each other to fight a common enemy, so they don't know who it is. So basically now it's the two of them. They're going to have to kind of fight together. Join forces, and the next issue, so 2 against Hydra. So basically those two guys are now going to have to go deep into the island to find out what's, who's captured everything else, and of course it's Strucker behind them. So yeah, so that's, again, I don't have the issue that follows, so I don't know what happens, but I may be looking for that, because this is a pretty cool issue.
I like the Popeye quote, blow me down.
Blow me down. And here's your Revolutionary War soldiers.
That were flat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So pretty cool, fun issue. I thought I was surprised, honestly. As much as I kind of dig some of the Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commando books, I thought this was way more action packed than some of those.
Really?
Yeah. But again, maybe it has to do with
because of the Baron.
Yeah, on the Samurai Squad. But pretty cool, and it was not overly dialogue heavy. Like I find some of the Howling Commandos books are really dialogue heavy. But this is pretty cool. I will definitely be looking out for more of these, I think, because this was pretty enjoyable.
Is that your first one?
Yeah, first one. I'd never even heard of this before. Never heard of Captain Savage and the Leatherneck Raiders. So yeah. So that is this episode for Inside the Cover. Captain Savage and the Leatherneck Raiders. If we got any fans watching, let us know what you think of this issue or the series in general. If you have any recommendations of other issues in this series, let me know, because I'm definitely going to look for the follow-up to this one, and maybe number 1 as well.
Yeah,
that might be good. Yeah, number 1
start there.
Yeah, but really good artwork. Yeah, 1, 2, and 3, right? Maybe that's all I need. I don't know, but very cool. So there you have it.
So please click the like button.
Yeah.
And thank you for subscribing, and thank you for being here. We're Comic Book Geezers, as always. We'll be doing more comic books for you comic book lovers, and we thank you for your support, and we'll see you next time on Comic Book Geezers. Take care.
That's right. For Wild Bill, I'm Pete. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.